Hello, I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible with least amount of extra as needed. We're going to go from 88 feet per second times, we'll actually go from feet to second to miles per hour. So we're going to write down here so we have an idea of where we're going. So we're going to go feet to miles. For every 5,280 feet, we're going to cancel it out on the bottom. There's 1 mile. We have our distance taken care of. Feet to miles, and now we're going to take care of the time. Seconds to hours. For every 60 seconds, there's 1 minute. And then for every 60 minutes, there's 1 hour. So we got our seconds to hours, and feet to miles, So if you cross out, feet goes out with feet, seconds goes out with seconds, minutes goes out with minutes. All you're left with is the miles on the top, and the only thing you're left with on the bottom is hour. So if you multiply it out, 88 times 60 divided by 5,280, you get 60 miles per hour. That is your answer. Number 2, you're doing 8 meters per second. We're going to do and you're going to kilometers per hour. So 8 meters per second, we're going to do from meters to kilometers. There's going to be 1,000 meters per 1 kilometer. So we got our conversion for the distance. And now we're going to go for the time. There's going to be 60 seconds per 1 minute, and there's going to be 60 minutes per 1 hour. Now we've got our conversion from seconds to hours. Meters goes out with meters. We're left with the kilometers for distance. Seconds goes out with seconds. Minutes goes out with minutes. You go 8 times 60 times 60. 8 times 60 times 60 divided by 1,000. And you'll get 28.8. And then your numbers are units or kilometers per hour. Check. That's exactly what we were looking for, kilometers per hour. Here is our answer, 28.8. Number 3, you're going to do a carpet is to be placed in a meeting hall that is 36 feet wide. Wide equals 36 feet. And 80 feet long. So your length is 80 feet. At $21.50 per yard, or actually per square yard, how much will it cost for the carpet for the meeting hall? So the area of a rectangle, because this would be a rectangle at this point, is the width, the width times the length. We already have both, so that's going to be 36 feet times 80 feet. And when you multiply that out, you'll get 36 times 80, 2,880, and then because feet multiplied by feet is feet squared. Now, before we do any type of multiplication, we have to do it in yards. It's going to be squared yards. We have to convert this into yards or convert this into feet. It really doesn't matter, but seeing as how this is a funny number as it is, I'd rather keep it in yards, so we're going to convert this to yards. So there's going to be 2,800 feet squared, and then there's 3 feet per 1 yard. Okay? But because we're talking about squares here, we have to make this parentheses here and put a square on the outside. So when we multiply, make sure you put your calculator in with that square around the parentheses, or otherwise the conversion will not work. So when you do it, you'll get, actually just to show or prove it, you'll get 2,880 feet squared times 1 squared is 1, and then it'll be yards squared. And then you'll get 3 squared is 9, and then feet squared will be feet squared. So your feet squared will cancel with your feet squared. You'll be left with yards, and you'll have 2,880 divided by 9, 320 yards squared. Now, for each square yard, it's going to cost $21.50. So here's your total amount of square yards, okay? But for each one, it's going to cost $21.50. So you're going to do 320 times $21.50 to get your total cost per yard squared. So when you multiply out, yard cancels out with yard because yard is going to be on the denominator here. The numerator is going to actually be this dollar sign. So when you multiply it out, you'll get 2150 times 320 of a total of cost $6,880. So that's 6880. Okay. Number 4 is very similar, but just different numbers. So you're going to have a width of 20 feet by a length of 30 feet at $22.25 per yard, per square yard. And how much will it cost to carpet the area? So area equals the length times the width. Area will equal, the length is 30 times 20. I have forgone the units, but it's still 30 square feet times 20 square feet. That's going to be 600 feet squared. Now we're going to have to once again convert this into yards. For every 600 feet squared, there's going to be 1 yard per 3 feet squared, or 600 feet squared times 1 yard, 1 squared, and yard squared, there'll be 1 yard squared, and then 3 squared will be 9, and there'll be 3 feet squared. Units will cancel, leaving with 600 divided by 9 to equal 66.67 yard squared. And so it's going to be 66.67 yard squared, but at a cost of $22.25 per yard squared. Units cancel out because, once again, the reason why we're multiplying this is that we have a total of 66.67 square yards, but it's going to be 22.25 per square yard. So if we have 66 of them, we multiply across, and by canceling units, we get 66.67 times 22.25. You'll get $1,483.41, the cost of 20 feet by 30 feet at 22.25 yards squared. Number 5, the question is find the number of gallons of water. So the question is gallons. In a fish tank that is 36 inches long, so the length equals 36 inches and 24 inches wide, so wide equals 24 inches wide, and is filled to a depth of 16 inches. So we're going to have a height of 16 inches. This is a volume problem. Volume equals the length times the width times the height. So it's very similar to the area. All you're doing is multiplying by the height now. So you get the length, width, and then now you're going to have a height. And realize that all this is in inches. There is a conversion that's given to us. 1 gallon equals 231 inches cubed. So as soon as we multiply all three, these inches times inches is inches squared times inches again would be inches cubed. We'll be able to get our conversion. So find our volume. The length will be 36 inches times the width, 24 inches, times the height, 16 inches. 36 times 24 times 16 equals 13,800 2824. Inches times inches times inches will be inches to the third power. So we have our volume, but now we have a conversion rate as well. So 13,824 inches cubed, and then right directly, we don't have to worry about, up here we had to worry about the squares and everything else, but because there is a direct relation to cubes per 1 gallon, we can write, because we want to go into gallons, 1 gallon per 1 gallon equals 231 inches cubed. So the inches will cross out with the inches automatically. So all you have to do now is multiply, or actually multiply across and then divide, but it's multiplied by 1, so it's still going to be 13,824 divided by 231, which will equal 59.8 gallons. Okay, and number 6 is just the same. Find the number of gallons in the water, so you're looking for the gallons. With a fish tank that is 24 inches long, so the length equals 24 inches, 18 inches wide, and filled to a depth of, I like to call it height, of 12 inches. Volume equals length times the width times the height, and the conversion is 1 gallon equals 231 inches cubed. Volume equals the length, 24 inches, times 18 inches, times 12 inches. Put it in your calculator, 24 times 18 times 12 equals 5184. Inch, 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 there's 3 of them. Inch to the third, 5184 inch cubed. And for every, and we want to cancel these units out to gallons, and if you, whatever you want your final resulting, which is gallons, you always want it to be on the top, so you can put your gallons on the top, then you're going to put your 231 on the bottom. Naturally it cancels out when you multiply. In this case, it's going to be division. 5184 times 1 is the same. Put in your calculator, 5184 divided by 231 equals 22.4. It really depends on how many decimal places she wants, 1, 2, or 3. Sometimes it might be the closest digit. In that case, if it is to the closest digits, the answer would be 22, but it'd be 22 gallons. Don't forget your units, because that's the entire point of this whole process. That's number 6. And that should be all that you're looking for.